And hello everyone, and we have a selection of news from the world of gymnastics. While the Russian Championship is in full swing, it's time to find out what is happening outside the walls of the Palace of Rhythmic Gymnastics in the Luzhniki stadium. So stock up on the tea and let's find out. And before starting the video, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, so as not to miss any new videos. Well, I'll start with the news that we influenced. A few weeks ago, I released a video about the conflict between the Nur-Sultan Gymnastics Federation and Alyabyeva. If you haven't watched, be sure to watch it. If briefly, there were problems with the election of the authorities to the federation, and Anna talked about the problems in the federation, that they did not communicate with ordinary schools in any way and did everything for the money. Well, I have good news. Not even a day has passed since the video was released as the conflict was resolved, and the federation contacted Anna. They came to a common agreement, and now I hope everything will work out. For me, it was mega good news that my videos really influenced something, so I'm definitely not doing all this for nothing. But thank you for your support and for watching. We can say that our public initiative has established a conflict. Well, now that we know that it really works, let's move to the other news. Another piece of news about which I have already told you, but I keep you updated on the changes. For those who are not aware of Valeria Yuzvyak, a member of the Ukrainian national team, is now being treated in Germany. She was diagnosed with cancer, and the entire Ukrainian team is now holding charitable broadcasts and fundraising masterclasses for Lena. At the moment, the operation has already passed and the tumor was removed. The operation was successful, but there is still long-term treatment and chemotherapy, for which funds are being collected. But the forecasts are still positive, and we will continue to monitor Lena's health. Well, to the news from which I was personally bombarded very strongly when I heard about it. The news concerns the Russian Championship and the tickets. In a recent video from the Grand Prix, I already complained about ticket problems. But with the Russian Championship, it's more funny, in quotes of course. Initially it was reported that tickets would be sold only on Yandex Afisha, as was the case at the Grand Prix. Then it was reported that tickets could be bought only at the entrance to the Gymnastics Palace, and only on the day of the competition. And of course, this is very logical considering that the country is fighting the global pandemic and trying not to create the queues. But here it is as they laughed at all the rules and specifically decided to create the queues. Considering that the hall can only be half full, there is also the opportunity to earn outbids who sell tickets at the entrance. Write in the comments what do you think about such a situation. Maybe I don't understand something and there is really a logical explanation, because deep down I want to believe in it. Well, we quite intimately also talked about the fact that mixed group in rhythmic gymnastics will soon appear. And if at the recent Russian Championship we saw with you group teams consisting of men, then in Spain there are already full-fledged mixed teams. And there it is not like in acrobatics, but real rhythmic gymnastics. Almudena Cid, the Spanish gymnast, is actively promoting the direction of male rhythmic gymnastics and mixed gymnastics. So apparently soon the world will be faced with the fact that we will have to decide what rhythmic gymnastics is and what should be included in international competitions. Of course, the Spanish direction is closer to rhythmic gymnastics, but the Japanese one is more courageous. So even for me, it will be interesting to see which of these will be preferred in the world. You can write your wishes in the comments. I'm sure people have different opinions here. Well, at least what is now taking place in Russia looks more like acrobatics in group. I also recently published in the Telegram channel a link to an interesting film about the champions of the Olympics. On the eve of the Tokyo Olympics, it seemed to me as relevant and interesting as possible. So I'm telling you here as well. The film is not new at all, and if you not have watched it, then it's worth it. Despite the fact that it's in English, for those who don't know, you can use subtitles. And it is interesting because at this Olympics, which they talked about in Atlanta in 1996, Russia was far away from podium. So you can see how the Spanish sportswomen trained, and in general, how they prepare for major competitions abroad. It turns out no easier than in Russia. Therefore, looking now at international competitions, you can root more for gymnasts from other countries. Another little sad news, Rebecca Gergalo, gymnast competing for Finland, announced her retirement. On her social network, she wrote that she intends to stay in the sports and continue to work as a coach. She trained for 16 years, but because of COVID, she is forced to miss the tournament where she can get a ticket to the Olympics, and therefore it will definitely not work out to get to the Olympics. So Rebecca decided to leave the sport as an athlete and continue to be associated with it as a coach. During her sports career, Rebecca has repeatedly become the champion of Finland in juniors and seniors. She also won medals in international tournaments, in individual events, and in the all-around. She took part in the European and World Championships. Rebecca's mom is Russian, and her dad is Ukrainian. Rebecca speaks fluently Russian, despite the fact that she was born in Finland. Its directors were also coaches from Russia, Irina Zinovka and Elena Karpushenko, so we can say that she is dear to us. After the renewal of the group composition of the Russian national team, a lot of questions arise about what is happening with the old composition and where all the gymnasts have gone. The question about many is still open, but someone speaks openly about their problems. For example, Masha Kraftova is now telling on her Instagram a story about what happened to her. For those who don't remember, Maria stood in the group exercises and won medals at the European and World Championships, as well as at World Cups and Grand Prix. And now she's an honored Masters of Sports. Told the questions why she disappeared from the group, she replied that she had health problems. And now on Instagram, she finally tells the whole truth. In December 2018, Masha suffered a knee injury. There were no operation and there was just enough rest at the beginning of February. She had already returned to training. But the truth was that at the end of the month, her second knee was injured. For about 2 weeks, Masha did not tell anyone about the injury. Therefore, that I didn't want to leave training knowing that the Olympics were approaching, and she had just joined the second squad. And peace is again skipping training, losing shape, and in fact starting all over again and proving herself in the team. After the injury became impossible to hide, Masha was removed from training and treatment was prescribed, although the rest led to weight gain due to the lack of training. Masha was frightened by this, and she decided not to sit still and reduced the weight to a quiet place in the baths and on treadmills through pain, not allowing herself to recover in fact. But Masha was too frightened by the fact that she could be sent home due to excess weight. So this fear pushed Masha to spoil her body by her own actions, going to the bathhouse in warm clothes, refusing water and normal nutrition. Well, the weight did not go away but only grew. The entire metabolism was already disrupted and the body needed special help. Irina Aleksandrovna sent Masha to Omsk, home, to recover normally, lose weight and then return. But the stress that Masha was going through did not allow her to think rationally. She remained in Moscow, trying to lose a few pounds that still did not go away. However, the stress caused problems with nutrition. After some time, Masha still pulled herself together and visibly approached losing weight and physical activity. And when there was very little left, Masha's body began to simply swell in the morning, adding kilograms on the scale. And when it already seemed that her return to Novogorsk was close, it moved a few more kilograms away, due to health problems of which Masha did not suspect. For a month, Masha tried to cope with the problem herself, thinking that all this can be solved by baths, exercise and poorer food. Coaches and parents were waiting and started asking when Masha would be ready. In early June, my mother began to guess that something was wrong, and Masha had to tell her everything. After which, she flew to Omsk. Medical examinations began, doctors, after which it turned out that a hormonal failure had occurred and the body had simply exhausted all of its resources. After that, they found out about everything in Novogorsk, where Masha also went through all the examinations, took tests, took medications, and tried to keep fit. In early September, it was decided that Masha would continue her treatment at home. Doctors, pills, and examinations continued. The condition was dangerous, and the state of health worsened. The metabolism in the body was completely disrupted. She had to go on diets and exclude a huge amount of products, by replacing them with injections, droppers, vitamins, and medications. And this is not the end of the story. Masha continues to publish her story on her Instagram once a week and still has no hope of returning to the team for the Olympics. Let's hope and believe that Masha will succeed. Write in the comments what do you think about this whole situation that happened to Masha, and how do you think she will be able to return to the main team for the Olympics? Well, for today, the video has come to an end. Remember that I love you all, and for now, goodbye. The video was translated and dubbed by Alexandra Sinitsa.